In 1868, Empress Shokan stood at a crossroads of history. After centuries of isolation, Japan was opening to the Western world, and as consort to Emperor Meiji, she faced the challenge of presenting Japanese imperial power globally while preserving cultural identity. As Western fashions swept through Tokyo and European diplomats arrived in their glittering regalia, Shokan made a strategic decision that would transform her dynasty's visual language. She created a jewelry collection using only diamonds and pearls, embodying purity, strength, and subtle beauty in a distinctly Japanese approach. This choice, made 150 years ago, continues to define how the world perceives the chrysanthemum throne. The calculated restraint, diamonds and pearls as cultural expression. The contrast couldn't be more striking. Open any book on European royal treasuries and you'll find pages filled with vibrant gemstones. Massive Burmese rubies glowing with inner fire, Colombian emeralds of deep forest green, sapphires from Kashmir with their velvety blue depths. These collections tell stories of conquest, strategic marriages, colonial acquisitions, and centuries of wealth accumulation. Yet turn to photographs of Japanese imperial ceremonies, and you'll notice something remarkable: an almost complete absence of colored stones. This intentional choice reflects the imperial house's deliberate aesthetic philosophy. As one of the world's oldest monarchies, the Japanese imperial family could acquire any gemstone, but their consistent selection of diamonds and pearls for official jewelry represents a profound cultural statement. The imperial collection's restraint communicates specific values embedded in Japanese society. Like a perfectly crafted haiku where each syllable carries weight, their jewelry choices embody shibui, an aesthetic concept prizing understated elegance and refinement without ostentation. Beauty, in this tradition, reveals itself gradually to the attentive observer rather than announcing itself boldly. Diamonds serve as powerful symbols within this framework. Their unmatched hardness represents strength and permanence, fitting metaphors for a monarchy tracing its lineage through an unbroken succession spanning over 2 millennia. Their clarity mirrors the unclouded judgment expected of the imperial family, while their ability to transform light into brilliant fire without adding color reflects the Japanese belief that true power needs no external enhancement. Pearls carry even deeper cultural resonance. Emerging from the waters surrounding the island nation, they connect the imperial family to Japan's maritime identity. Their soft luminescence originates from within, rather than reflecting external light, symbolizing inner beauty and quiet strength. In ancient Shinto beliefs, pearls link to water spirits and divine feminine energy, adding spiritual dimensions to their use. The chrysanthemum tiara exemplifies this approach. Worn exclusively by Japanese empresses, it features stylized chrysanthemum blooms rendered entirely in diamonds, representing the imperial house itself. Despite its impressive scale, it conveys supreme status through diamonds alone, creating a visual harmony that would be disrupted by colored stones. While European royalty might showcase a single ruby like the Black Prince's ruby in the British imperial state crown, a 170-carat red spinel of intense crimson, Japanese imperial jewelry creates an atmosphere of serene dignity through monochromatic brilliance. This uniformity draws attention not to spectacular individual stones, but to the women themselves and the institution they represent. This aesthetic approach serves another purpose. It allows the wearer, rather than their jewels, to command attention. Japanese imperial women remain the focus, embodying their roles as living symbols of tradition and continuity. Their jewelry complements rather than overshadows them. The restraint we observe expresses core Japanese values: harmony, WA, restraint, Enryo, and preference for subtlety over ostentation. By consistently choosing diamonds and pearls, the imperial house maintains visual identity rooted in cultural sensibility, like a perfectly proportioned Zen garden where each element has precise meaning. This approach represents a deliberate rejection of excess, prioritizing refined grace. It aligns with the imperial family's modern position as guardians of tradition. Their jewelry, like their public role, embodies continuity, stability, and cultural authenticity. The calculated restraint ultimately reveals that true power needs no flamboyant expression. In a culture valuing the space between words as much as the words themselves, these carefully chosen diamonds and pearls speak eloquently of an institution that has survived by adapting to change while maintaining its essential character. The Meiji transformation, jewelry as diplomatic strategy. Picture Emperor Meiji in 1868, standing at a pivotal moment in Japanese history. For over 2 centuries, Japan had maintained almost complete isolation under the Tokugawa shogunate. This self-imposed seclusion allowed Japanese art, culture, and aesthetics to develop along distinct paths, largely untouched by Western influences. Traditional imperial regalia reflected this isolation: ceremonial robes, elaborate hairstyles, and ornaments that would have seemed entirely foreign to European eyes. Then came the dramatic shift. The arrival of American Commodore Perry's black ships in 1853 and the subsequent forced opening of Japan created an immediate crisis of identity and representation. The new Meiji government faced an urgent challenge. How could Japan present itself as equal to Western powers without abandoning its cultural essence? This was fundamentally about power, sovereignty, and national identity. Emperor Meiji and Empress Shokan understood that in the diplomatic arena of the 19th century, visual presentation communicated as much as formal treaties. Their personal appearance would either reinforce Japan's status as a modern nation or relegate it to the category of exotic in Western eyes. The imperial court made a calculated decision. They would adopt Western formal wear for diplomatic occasions, including the elaborate jewelry that European royal courts considered essential. For the emperor, this meant military uniforms and decorations. For Empress Shokan, it meant European-style court dresses, tiaras, and formal parures, matched sets of jewelry designed to be worn together. The once serene imperial palace, with its tatami floors and sliding fusuma doors, now witnessed the rustle of silk gowns and the gentle clink of diamond jewels. Empress Shokan, a striking figure in her Western attire, moved through these transformed spaces as a living embodiment of Japan's diplomatic strategy. Her every appearance a bold statement, balancing modernity with timeless cultural values. When foreign dignitaries were received at court, they encountered an imperial couple who could meet them on equal terms, following the same protocols that governed European courts, while maintaining distinctly Japanese elements. The first major commission came in the 1880s with the creation of the Meiji tiara. Unlike European tiaras with prominently displayed colored gemstones, this piece consisted entirely of diamonds arranged in classical Western motifs while maintaining Japanese principles of restraint and purity. The tiara featured removable star elements, similar to designs worn by Empress Elizabeth of Austria. However, the Japanese version maintained cultural distinctiveness through its exclusive use of diamonds and pearls, adhering to traditional values of refinement. Japan's approach differed from other Asian courts of the period. Rather than directly importing European royal jewels like Siam, or acquiring gemstones from colonial authorities like Indian courts, the imperial household commissioned new pieces from renowned European houses like Chaumet and Garrard. These pieces were designed specifically for the Japanese imperial family to communicate both modernity and cultural continuity. This strategy extended beyond jewelry to encompass entire court ceremonials. The result was a hybrid court culture that allowed Japan to engage confidently with the West without being absorbed by it. By the early 20th century, Japan had established itself as a major world power, defeating Russia in the 1904 to 1905 war and securing alliances with Britain. The Imperial jewelry collection stood as visual evidence of Japan's self-assured place in the world, adapting Western standards on Japanese terms. This legacy remains visible today. The restraint and elegance of Japanese imperial jewelry continues to communicate the same message established during the Meiji era. Japan engages with the world on its own terms, remaining true to its core cultural values. Symbols of duty, the coming-of-age tiaras. In December 2021, royal observers noted something unusual during Princess Aiko's coming-of-age ceremony. The only daughter of Emperor Naruhito and Empress Masako turned 20, officially transitioning to adulthood in Japanese society. Yet unlike imperial princesses before her, Aiko didn't receive a new tiara crafted specifically for her. Instead, she wore a diamond tiara previously belonging to her aunt, former Princess Sayako. This break with tradition raised questions among those familiar with the imperial family's carefully maintained customs. For generations, Japanese imperial princesses have received diamond tiaras when turning 20, marking their formal entrance into public duties. These tiaras signify the princess's new role as an official representative of the Chrysanthemum throne. They mark her readiness to participate in state functions and ceremonial occasions, acknowledging her acceptance of the responsibilities that come with imperial status. The designs of coming-of-age tiaras deliberately differ from those worn by the empress or crown princess, featuring more delicate scrollwork, smaller diamonds, or more pearls. This visual distinction establishes a clear hierarchy within the imperial family, making their relative positions immediately apparent even to untrained eyes. Each tiara incorporates symbolic elements connected to the princess's personal emblem or role. Princess Kiko's Akishino tiara features the iris motif, her personal imperial emblem symbolizing resilience and protection. Princess Kako's tiara, created by Mikimoto, features a floral design reflecting her youth and position. As an active imperial family member, she wears this tiara at formal functions while performing ceremonial duties. These tiaras belong to the institution of the Chrysanthemum throne, rather than to individual princesses. This becomes apparent when princesses marry commoners and leave imperial status behind. When Princess Mako married Kei Komuro in 2021, she surrendered her title and returned her tiara to the imperial collection, where it has remained since. This practice reinforces that these jewels represent positions rather than persons. Should Princess Kako marry a commoner, her tiara would likewise return to the imperial vault, maintaining the separation between personal adornment and symbols of state. Princess Sayako's case proved exceptional. When she married commoner Yoshiki Kuroda in 2005, she kept her coming-of-age tiara despite leaving the imperial family. Her tiara had been purchased with private family funds rather than state resources, making it personal property. This distinction allowed it to remain with Sayako after her marriage, eventually becoming available for Princess Aiko to borrow. Princess Aiko's borrowed tiara carries particular significance. Her coming of age occurred during the COVID-19 pandemic, when many Japanese citizens faced economic hardship. By reusing an existing tiara, the imperial family demonstrated sensitivity to these difficult circumstances. This decision aligned with Emperor Naruhito's desire for a monarchy responsive to contemporary social conditions. The reuse of Sayako's tiara emphasized continuity and institutional permanence over individual acquisition. It reinforced that imperial jewelry serves the throne rather than personal vanity. The diamonds and pearls adorning Princess Aiko weren't simply ornaments, but visual reminders of her acceptance of duty to nation and tradition. Imperial jewelry functions as a physical manifestation of duty. The tiaras worn by imperial women are symbols of service, worn as part of fulfilling obligations to the institution and nation. The princesses wear these jewels as acceptance of their responsibility to uphold traditions spanning centuries. The coming-of-age tiaras illustrate a fundamental principle at the heart of the Japanese monarchy. Individual members serve the institution rather than the institution serving them. In their gleaming surfaces, we see reflected the core values of duty, continuity, and service that sustain the world's oldest hereditary monarchy. Nature's divinity. Shinto influences on imperial jewelry design. Study the chrysanthemum tiara, worn exclusively by Japanese empresses, and you'll notice something distinctive: a complete absence of colored stones. This restraint might seem simple at first glance, but the tiara communicates complex ideas about imperial authority through its design. To understand why, we must consider how Shinto, Japan's indigenous religion, shapes the visual language of imperial jewelry. Shinto perceives divinity within natural elements themselves. Mountains, ancient trees, waterfalls, even the wind and rain are considered sacred entities deserving reverence. This fundamental belief creates a spiritual framework where humans seek harmony with nature rather than dominance over it, a principle clearly reflected in imperial jewelry designs. While maintaining material restraint through diamonds and pearls, these royal ornaments incorporate rich symbolism through natural motifs. The 16-petaled chrysanthemum stands as the most significant symbol, serving as Japan's imperial seal. This flower carries multiple layers of meaning central to imperial identity. The chrysanthemum blooms vibrantly in autumn, signifying longevity, rejuvenation, and resilience, qualities linked to the world's oldest continuous monarchy. Its numerous petals radiating from a central core evoke images of the sun, creating a visual connection to the imperial family's mythological descent from Amaterasu Omikami, the sun goddess. During the annual Chrysanthemum Festival, or Kiku Matsuri, elaborate displays of these imperial flowers adorn Shinto shrines, reinforcing their sacred status in Japanese culture. This connection reinforces the emperor's traditional role as Shinto's high priest and a figure of divine descent. The specific 16-petal variety is strictly reserved for the emperor and imperial family, underscoring its status as the ultimate mark of sovereignty. When rendered in diamonds on the Empress's tiara, this symbol communicates imperial authority through design, rather than through ostentatious colored gemstones. The diamond honeysuckle tiara demonstrates another aspect of this nature-centered aesthetic. Its delicate floral motifs connect the wearer to the natural world, reflecting Shinto's reverence for nature's spiritual essence. Water symbols frequently appear in designs, connecting to purification rituals central to Shinto practice. Water represents cleansing, renewal, and spiritual purification, concepts fundamental to Shinto ceremonies. Pearl elements in imperial jewelry serve multiple symbolic functions, reinforcing the connection between the imperial family and Japan's identity as an island nation. Their soft luminescence speaks to inner beauty and quiet strength. The preference for white diamonds and lustrous pearl tones directly connects to concepts of purity essential in Shinto ritual contexts. Like elements in a traditional Japanese garden, where each stone, plant, and water feature harmoniously occupies its precise place, the components of imperial jewelry exist in perfect balance. Just as a carefully placed rock represents a mountain or a small pool embodies the vast ocean, the natural motifs in these royal ornaments convey profound meaning through elegant simplicity. The natural motifs in Japanese imperial jewelry express deep Shinto connections between the imperial family, nature, and divine order. When an empress wears the chrysanthemum tiara at a state function, she carries visual references to the sun goddess, to concepts of purity and renewal, and to the imperial family's place within a cosmic order where natural elements possess divine significance. Through this distinctive aesthetic approach, imperial jewelry expresses a worldview where humans exist in harmony with nature. The restraint in materials coupled with rich natural symbolism creates jewelry that speaks a profound visual language deeply rooted in Shinto spirituality and Japan's unique cultural heritage. Conclusion. As we've seen, the Japanese Imperial jewelry collection communicates volumes through what it doesn't include. This deliberate restraint reveals a sophisticated visual language expressing cultural values, historical adaptations, and institutional priorities without words. The calculated preference for diamonds and pearls, Western forms with Japanese aesthetics, tiaras as symbols of duty, and Shinto-inspired natural motifs collectively support the world's oldest continuous monarchy. These carefully curated pieces form a complete system of visual communication that has helped the imperial family navigate centuries of change. How might similar cultural symbols in your own heritage speak to identity and continuity across time? If you've enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the Behind the Gift channel for more in-depth looks at the fascinating stories behind the world's most extraordinary jewelry.